Will there ever be a 2025 Marilyn Monroe? Have you ever wondered who, in 2080, might be remembered as we see Marilyn Monroe today? I want to start by saying this is purely opinion-based. Maybe for you, there's already someone as culturally significant in 2025 that comes to mind, someone I might not have considered. But I believe that Marilyn Monroe, beyond just the actress and model, but as an icon with her name, image and legacy, can never be recreated on the same scale. Let me explain why. Who was Marilyn Monroe? Her story. Marilyn Monroe, born Norma Jean Mortensen, came from a challenging and troubled background. She was born into a broken home. Her father abandoned her mother before she was born, leaving Norma Jean never knowing him. Her mother, who suffered from schizophrenia, was abusive and eventually institutionalized during Norma's childhood. As a result, Norma Jean was placed in an orphanage despite having living parents.
I used to sit up in the window at night and all the kids were asleep and cry because I'd look over and I'd see RKO and I knew my mother had worked there and she'd been a cutter there.
At just 16 years old, she married her neighbour to escape her circumstances. For a few years, she lived as a housewife, but her dream of becoming an actress led to her divorce after 4 years of marriage. Following the divorce, Norma Jean pursued modelling gigs, eventually leading to her first acting role. This is just a brief overview of her life. If you're interested, I highly recommend watching documentaries or interviews of her on YouTube for a more detailed account. Why did she become culturally significant? There are several reasons why Marilyn Monroe remains a cultural icon, even though she tragically passed away 62 years ago. First, she was far ahead of her time when it came to branding and her sex appeal. Marilyn became famous incredibly quickly. Some argue it was due to her undeniable talent, others point to her physical beauty, but I believe it was a combination of both, along with her relentless hard work.
The full day shooting, when I couldn't think of anything. We'd go home and eat and crash, She'd go and work. She was really determined.
People often say Marilyn was a character created by Norma Jean. Those who knew her personally described her as being very different from the glamorous figure she portrayed. For example, while Marilyn was the epitome of blonde bombshell allure, Norma was naturally a shy brunette. In an era when posing nude was considered highly scandalous, Marilyn broke barriers. Early in her career, she posed nude out of financial desperation. When these photos were later published in Playboy, after she became famous, they didn't tarnish her image, they amplified it. Her personal life was constantly scrutinized by the media, from her marriages to her desperate search for love and validation. Despite the public adoration, she was deeply unhappy, a fact that becomes apparent in interviews and biographies.
I'm not just generally happy. If I'm generally anything, I guess I'm generally miserable.
Marilyn embodied the ultimate Hollywood fantasy after World War II, representing hope and the American dream during a time of recovery and economic hardship. By the 1950s, she was the biggest star in the world. Paparazzi chased her relentlessly. Helicopters hovered over her home and her every move captivated the public. Tragically, on August 5th, 1962, Marilyn Monroe died from a drug overdose. To this day, debates persist about whether it was an accident, suicide, or something more sinister. This lingering mystery has only cemented her place in pop culture history. Is a 2025 Marilyn Monroe possible? The short answer, no. Social media has completely changed the landscape of fame and stardom. In Marilyn's era, the public only saw glimpses of stars through carefully curated media appearances. Today, celebrities share their lives in real time on platforms like Instagram and TikTok. The mystique of stardom has been replaced by relatability, creating a more human and approachable form of fame. This shift makes it nearly impossible to recreate someone like Marilyn Monroe in 2025. Entertainment consumption is no longer focused solely on movie stars or singers. With the internet, anyone can post content and be seen by millions. The spotlight is no longer controlled by the media, it's controlled by us, the audience. Even today's biggest movie stars like Zendaya or Angelina Jolie don't carry the same sense of untouchable superiority that stars of the past did. Social media has given us access to their humanity, their flaws, and their daily lives. The power dynamic has shifted, and the audience now holds significant influence over celebrities' careers and image. That being said, some individuals may still achieve cultural icon status in unique ways. Is this change good or bad? In my opinion, this shift is overwhelmingly positive. Researching Marilyn's life made me realise how deeply unhappy she was, and she wasn't even trying to hide it.
She had often expressed wishes to give up, to withdraw, and even to die.
If an artist were to show similar sadness today, social media would amplify their struggles and fans would likely rally to support them. No one should try to recreate or compare themselves to Marilyn Monroe. She was a deeply misunderstood person before she became an icon. Her legacy is a reminder of how fame, while glamorous on the surface, can take a heavy toll on someone's mental health. Of course, there are other icons from her era. Audrey Hepburn, for instance, had her own significant impact. But Marilyn's story and message remain uniquely powerful, setting her apart from any other star of the past. Final thoughts. Thank you for watching if this is a video. This is only my second attempt at something like this, so your feedback would mean the world to me. Please like, comment, and share your opinions. What do you think of Marilyn Monroe as a person? Do you believe there's a 2025 equivalent of her in some way? I'm genuinely curious to hear your thoughts. Also, if you liked this video, I highly recommend you watching this video by Modern Girls. That's way more detailed than mine. And also this one from Yara Zaid, that's more talking about the marketing and branding part of it. Good night and thank you.